Do you watch Dancing with the Stars? The title may suggest a perfect blend of Virgo and Vertigo, but it's actually a competition show where celebrities battle to see who is the least talented. For 10 weeks, they're creating, learning, and then performing each of their routines live. I honestly don't know what draws me to this show so much, given that I don't have that big of an interest in dance, and I'm not old. Oh wait, hold on, you guys have Shangela doing the tango? Dancing with the Stars is one of the few celebrity shows where they're actually doing something. Not just answering questions, but putting in work, often outside of what they normally do, in order to keep themselves at the top. It's a lot more engaging of a show, and I think that's why it sticks out so much. As one of the judges, Derek, puts it,
you have to be outstanding, so then you stand out.
That's not all he has to say, because after each dance, the stars are then reviewed and scored by the 4 judges. The scores then determine everyone's placement at the end of the night, and whoever is the lowest, let's just say they get to sleep in next week. However, there is one other factor in deciding the fate of the stars. You. Viewers can vote for their favorites each night to ensure that the ones they hate stay at the bottom. Messaging and data rates may apply, of course. It's only 2023, you still have to pay to talk to someone. Despite how much they encourage voting, I choose not to. It builds an extra layer of unpredictability, knowing I am absent from anything that could change the outcome of the show. An added spice of suspense on top of the initial question of, who's even here in the first place? It's a pretty big range of who is considered a star. I mean, the only reason I cared about last season so much was because of JoJo Siwa, and she should have won. The aspect of Dancing with the Stars that piques my interest the most is the wide variety of people on the show. It's not limited to something specific like TV personalities. No, everyone is fair game. The fact that there are so many people is what makes it the most fun, because more often than not, I have no idea who anyone is. Sometimes I can't even tell the stars from the dancers. Having no background knowledge of these people means that when they step out onto the floor, anything could happen. You don't know what they're capable of, which keeps you engaged. Not having expectations for people means that if they do bad, you're not fazed, but if they're even half decent, your mind is blown. However, one criticism, I think it can lead to a bit of an unfair situation when you have someone who has experience in the field. Like a singer or performer up against a TV show host? Yeah, not surprised the dancer got far in Dancing with the Stars. Episode 1, we're introduced to everyone who's on this season, starting with the professionals dancing to Lizzo. No! Oh, uh-oh. Man, when they did the clap, I was like, this is it. This is a season. Like I said, I usually don't know anyone, so it becomes a fun little guessing game of who's who. But rarely, you will get someone who needs no introduction. And here, it happened twice. Wayne Brady. He's done a handful of things, but what I know him from best is the game show Let's Make a Deal.
How long have you guys been together?
We're friends.
This is a show I would often watch with my dad on days I didn't have school. So Wayne has dug himself in my mind as the face of preferable days. As soon as I saw him, no questions about it, this is who I was rooting for. And he's with Whitney, who's really good. I really liked her last season. And she was the one who did the Carlton, which means, yeah, he's in good hands. He's not gonna get zoinked. Now, all of this brings me to my next point about how I have more fun watching the show, giving it a main character. Over time, you'll slowly start to pick someone you want to win, a star that grabs your attention and becomes the one you end up rooting for. Having Wayne this early on definitely enhances that, but little did I know there'd be more than one main character, and never in a million years will you guess who it is. Charli D'Amelio?! What? I'm not well versed in this side of the internet. I never followed the D'Amelios. I don't have TikTok. I don't watch their show. I don't even eat Takis. Most of what I know comes from other commentary channels, and still, that's pretty minimal. No. How about more weird ads? Charli is the last person I would expect to see on the show, but that's that wide variety I was telling you about. Yeah, usually there's a handful of people I like to support, ironically, to keep things more interesting for myself, and I thought that would be Charli. But nope. She came out for the first dance and my expectations were flipped. She has some skill behind her, along with her partner Mark, who's also really good. Ah, Charli, you can't do that. The old people won't get that reference. You know what's more fun than giving the show a main character? Giving it a villain. It's not enough for me to be on the edge of my seat, hoping that the people I like don't get eliminated. I need to root for someone's downfall. What if I told you the impossible? That there is another D'Amelio? No, not Dixie. That wouldn't have been funny. Charli's mom. I didn't like her in Bumblebee. I don't like her here. Yeah, I don't get it either. It's odd to have someone from the same genre of celebrity, let alone the same family. I just can't get over how weird it is that they're both here. And not exactly sure why, but there's something about Charli's mom that rubs me the wrong way. Biggest point was literally her first dance, where immediately I had nothing for this woman. I considered not even mentioning that, just so I wouldn't have to go through it again. One more blaring issue I have with her is my main reason overall, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Also getting ahead of things, there's always someone that you forget about that does really well. Every time you think everyone is gone, there's one more. They come out and end up making it to the top 4. They sneak by and get a perfect score. Last season, that was Amanda Klutz, and the only reason I remember that is because she did a Corella dance. This season, it's Gabby from The Bachelorette. You know what, come to think of it, there always seems to be someone from The Bachelorette franchise? Probably because it's ABC and nepotism. That's why I don't like you. Nepotism! Oh! Now, the main thing that keeps the flow going is that each episode has its own theme, like Halloween, James Bond, Michael Bublé, the 90s. It's 90s night, and Charli is 18.
What video game console was the best-selling of the 90s?
The Wii?
That seems like she's at a disadvantage, but let's be honest, that won't stop her. Prom night? What's that like? Themes of the episode help to push people to spice their dances up and force them into more of a creative direction. Because now, you aren't just doing the tango. You're doing the tango in the theme of Guardians of the Galaxy. Good luck with that one. I am ashamed of all of you. It was Disney Plus night, and no one did WandaVision? Deeply hurt by this. Oh, I get it. He's in Hamilton. So he did Hamilton. Having the stars incorporate each theme into their dance for the week keeps variety and prevents each dance from essentially being the same thing, for being honest. Now, what keeps me engaged with Dancing with the Stars is seeing what people do with their dances as the season goes on. Not only working with the theme, but adding enough of their own personality. At a certain point, people have to start upping their game. It's not enough to just be good. Remember, you aren't just going for judges' scores, you also have to win over the voters, which means that they have to start going out there with their dances and do things that they haven't before. In the beginning, it's fair. Everyone is just starting out. You don't expect much. You're getting your footing with the show, but around episode 6 is where you should start experimenting with your dances more. By now, all the people who couldn't keep up were eliminated, so everyone left is decent. When everyone could do fairly well, you have to focus on ways to make yourself more than just another contestant. When you aren't pushing the boundaries of your routines, you just become predictable and formulaic. That is the level of competition that makes the last half of the season the most intriguing, because you watch as people start to slowly realize they need to start doing more. I hate to say it, but some of these people get to a point where it's like watching cardboard float in a wavy ocean. This is where Charli and Wayne set themselves apart from the other stars. They are constantly going bigger with their routines. I can guarantee you that if you watch every episode, not a single one of their dances feel the same. Wayne brings a lot of energy into his routines, and you could feel his passion for it. Both him and Whitney mix up their dances and put in 110%. I also have to note that the music choices they have are top-notch. They're more unique compared to everyone else and merge well with their energy. One night, they had dubstep. That's not even touching the fact that Wayne sang one of the songs for their performance, which is just a new level. This is why he's one of my favorites, because he's going out of his way to up his game in ways that you wouldn't expect. Len even gave this man a standing ovation. I have never seen that. And same with Charli. She is a constant showstopper. Her dances always have a little extra flair to them, not just sticking to the dance or theme. She goes out and tries things. She pushes the boundaries of not only the dance, but herself as well. Haven't seen something that slick since the wheels in Mario Kart. Charli takes risks and incorporates stunts that no one else is doing, and the next night she'll do stuff that she hasn't done before. I tried to do this and hurt myself. She's bold. The thing I find funny is that during the practices, she's always talking about how worried she is and afraid of messing something up. Charli is coasting this competition. Every dance is near flawless. No one could touch her! She would get back-to-back 10s. There was never a point in the show where she wasn't at the top of the leaderboard, even getting a perfect 50 on Michael Bublé night. It's not uncommon for dances to have meaning behind them, and one of Charli's was about her battle with anxiety. That's something I can understand. I think it's something we could all understand, and that's what makes it so powerful. And I can't believe I'm saying this about a TikToker, but respect where it's earned. Charli had the power to really move the audience with her dances. Even the judges get emotional at times. And in the same vein as Wayne, she got special praise and was hugged. Insane. She shows her skills in this competition, and each night is another example of why she is at the top. She doesn't have competitors, she has a body count. Charli and Wayne have diversified routines that constantly set them apart from everyone else. I could always count on it being good when they're up. Plus, with them doing better and better, it puts pressure on every other star to up their game, snowballing into that level of everyone going above and beyond that I was talking about. When you are this good, you aren't in the competition, you are making the competition. Now, time for the polar opposite. those who color within the lines and do what I call safe dances. I'm talking about Charli's mom, Vinny, honestly, bachelorette lady, sticking to their guns and doing just enough to get by, but not really going for it or mixing in anything exciting. You can't just be doing normal stuff anymore, you gotta throw in a backflip. You're up against Wayne putting his whole soul into it and Shangela's explosive energy. Your foxtrot is not enough. Can't really expect anything too different from them, at least not to the same extent as Charli Slimesicle over here. They don't go for big moments, so they feel repetitive, and when you don't do that much special, you aren't memorable. Someone that you forget. This leads me to my side tangent about Charli's mom, which is my main reason for not really liking her from before. A little bit later in the season, she had a dance with a very clear story to it. It seemed like her rendition of overcoming emotions, which is what Charli had done several episodes prior. I'm not going to pretend like there aren't overlaps in this show. At some point, everyone's got a tango. That's why I put such an emphasis on working with the theme and putting in extra effort to set yourself apart. Admittedly, in the semifinals, Charli and Gabby had similar dances, but they both had enough of themselves to keep them separate and unique. Charli's mom? Not only is she not keeping up, but her dance was kind of somewhat copying Charli. What? No, that's a losing battle. Charli had a whole production, so in comparison, her mom was doing a diet, zero sugar version with no emotion. Man, first you steal her spotlight, then you steal her dance. What's next? You're gonna be the one people complain about in commentary? Oh. What have I done? Charli's mom got to a point where her improvements were minimal and her dances started to fall behind, not being as memorable and not sparking that much variety. When everyone is starting to put themselves into overdrive nearing the end of the season, you won't get very far with those safe dances. Charli's mom started to slowly drop down the scoreboard, even having to be saved from elimination by the judges one night. Until finally...
And leaving right now. Heidi and Ardo.
Yes! That's so sad. Oh no, oh my god. I'm really gonna miss her. I hope the D'Amelio show gets a season 3. So Charli's mom is an example of what happens when you have someone who doesn't go for big moments. But if you're still looking for one last example of someone who does, look no further than Daniel Duran. Daniel was on Dancing with the Stars to show that even though he is deaf, that's not something that will hold him back. And considering that he made it all the way to the semifinals, I think he's proven that. For 90s Night, he wanted to do a routine that showed a glimpse into what it's like for him competing deaf, to give people that perspective. And how they were going to do that was having the music fade out for a portion of the dance. And they pulled this off flawlessly. I know I talked a lot about Charmin and Wayne earlier, but this is my definitive example of a moment that makes you memorable. I was actually lucky enough to see Daniel and Britt perform this live during their tour, and I do not care how big your TV is, the screen does not do it justice. Daniel is among a handful of stars where you could really notice the hard work they put in, growing and improving each night, not being afraid to experiment with and learn from their dances. Those who are brave enough to put in the sweat, tears, and hours to get even a glimpse of Charli's shadow. Stars like Trevor Donovan. Him and Daniel climbed up my list of favorites because of how much they pushed themselves. In one of the episodes, there's something that Wayne said that has really stuck with me for a while now.
There's no magic to it except the magic of hard work.
These two have that magic. At the start, Trevor's dances were a little rocky, he had no experience, but as the show went on, he took the steps needed to keep himself in the competition, and his performances reflected that. Even though he was eliminated later on in the semifinals, they went out winning, because you cannot deny the journey he went on, and it looks like he knows that. More than I could say for some. Just give the D'Amelio show another season, she'll have her stardom there. Okay, her spot easily could have been Matt Pat. Now, because more and more people are being eliminated, they have to find a way to fill the time. Usually, they will have a segment with professional dancers or Derek will walk out and explain something, but by far the best ones are when they have smaller competitions for extra points. You know how in Mario Party, after each turn, you have a minigame? Yeah, it's kind of like that. But instead of coins for stars, the stars get extra points. Usually by now, everyone has started getting higher scores, maybe even tying, so these extra 5 points can make the difference for the night. People like Wayne, Charli 5, Bachelorette Lady, these points are life or death. But people at the bottom? Yeah, just have fun, I guess. There are a handful of dances that this could be, but by far, my favorite is the relay race, because it pits people head to head, so you know someone's eating dirt. Since it happened in the 90s episode, they had live performances of old school music, which included Vanilla Ice? Oh? Stop playing. Oh no, she's moving faster than music. She's evolved, she's become too powerful. Someone stop her. Stop Charli, get her off the floor before she gets a black hole. We're all gonna die. She's moving too well. Yeah, oh no, I just really like the relay race one because it's like, it's just hilarious because, man, Vinny, you're enjoyable. I like punching the air just as much as the next guy, but a Homelander, just give him the points now. On the Halloween episode, there was this new one where everyone would split into two groups. The two people at the bottom of the scoreboard, those being Vinny and Homelander, would each pick teams, and then the two teams would have a civil war for bonus points. Now, Homelander here, he saw the script. Man picked both Charli and Wayne. Vinny never had a shot. I'm not denying the abilities of anyone in Vinny's group. Shangela, honestly, one of the best, along with the Bachelorette lady. But their dance didn't do any of them justice. They were too separated. The whole point of the team exercise was to work together, and they didn't. Each duo got their time in the spotlight while the other stars just kind of like moved to the corners and like shuck around. They didn't show how they worked together, just how they worked as individuals. You might as well have not been in a group. But now it's time for Trevor's group. Let me just say, I had high hopes just based on who was here, but they exceeded that. They functioned together, moved in sync, as a group. Not one could do it without the other. Whatever else Vision said in Age of Ultron. Even when each duo was given their own time, everyone else still kept going. It kept a flow. Everyone acted as a part to a whole rather than taking turns. It even ended with everyone giving Charli the spotlight because they know she's amassed too much power and can't be stopped. Told you. She only has a body count. They weren't just on the dance floor. They were the dance floor, and that's what gave them the victory. Which is just even more impressive because there were less of them. Which, I mean, I guess, now that I think about it, probably gave them the advantage because it was probably easier to choreograph. But my point is, you have less people, and they still got the victory! Oh my god! Not gonna lie, though. Charli might have to, contact a chiropractor with how hard she's carrying the show. Alright, yeah, goodbye. That's the last joke of the night. Goodbye. Till next season.
Charli, you went wrong.
You went wrong. What? That's it? He just straight up told her she was wrong? No further explanation? No setup or warning? You could feel the silence. Look, never in a million years did I think I would be defending Charli D'Amelio of all people, but this is one of those moments that just catches you. For a solid 2 seconds, there isn't a single word spoken as you sit and watch her expression convey the feeling of our nightmares. It's somehow worse than cringing. I was left uncomfortable, and I'm not even supposed to care. It's not a moment that leaves you asking, what? It's a moment that leaves you asking, why? These are the parts of the show that I find to be some of the most interesting at times, because for a brief moment, they break that wall of fiction, and you are reminded that these aren't just characters on a screen. This is a person with thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And what I find the funniest is that Charli expressed that Len was her favorite judge because of his brutal honesty. The level of irony in this situation is unparalleled. Charli had opened up about her high levels of anxiety and did a whole dance around that, a really stunning one too, and within this group performance, they gave her that spotlight. Just for it to be taken away from her like this. Her partner even felt it. When getting the scores, he jumped in and said that he was the one that went wrong and not her.
I missed the step in the function.
Perhaps the whole reason behind any of this is to scare Charli into fixing more of the technical parts of her dancing, to deflate her ego a little bit. Because in all honesty, she's one of, if not the best on the season. She has very little incentive to improve, and if that goes to her head, she won't bother fixing anything the judges call out, and everyone else will start to gain traction. During eliminations, they say that they don't call out who is safe in any specific order, but I've noticed that they started to call her later and later. Halloween night, she was bottom 3. I think that they were trying to spook her into realizing that despite being good, you could only fly for so long before you need to refuel. And that's why her mom was eliminated. I suppose it could be argued that she put in the work to make it as far as she did, but she wasn't going out there with her dances. By the time she picked up a bit, everyone else was too far ahead, and yeah, she got cut. Same case with Vinny, he just wasn't moving far enough, and it would be a real loss if someone as good as Charli would fall to the same faults. I just think you could probably do that without giving people a heart attack. You need to spoil the limelight her teammates willingly gave her. Charli is learning where she fits into the food chain, and I don't think they want her to figure that out. My one gripe with this, though, is that in the training clips, you could see and feel how nervous Charli is, and how she doesn't feel like she is coasting. Like I said, she still has that fear of messing up, and if they're trying to spook her into fixing the smaller problems, well, she was already spooked. That extra anxiety can make it seem as if those fears are justified. It doesn't seem like anything is really going to her head, so in reality, this stuff is probably just more extra weight that she has to carry. I mean, if you're trying to push someone into a certain direction, just make sure you aren't doing it in a way that could also trip them. I mean, she is just a kid. Now, we reach the final episode. For the finale, we have 4 remaining horsemen, those being Wayne, Shangela, Charli, and Gabby, right, yeah. Her. Wait a second, hold on. You ever seen Captain America Civil War? In this episode, each of the stars have 2 dances to perform because runtime. The first of which being a redemption dance. Over the course of the season, the stars have performed a variety of different dance styles. So, whichever one they had scored the lowest in, they now have a second shot at. If the cameras can handle it, that is. Why? Why is everything sparkling? The redemption dance is a way to show just how much the stars have improved. You know, the ones who need to. At this point, I think she's just having fun, which would be closer in nature to the second dance of the night. The freestyle. This time, the stars are given creative control in any style that they want. Essentially, this dance is saying, "Congratulations, dear gamer, you made it to the finale." Do whatever. It's like a little celebration of them making it this far. The "you can now play as Luigi" of Dancing with the Stars. The freestyle may even be a bigger testament to how much the stars have learned, as it can incorporate different styles within the one routine. You gotta know how to balance everything. Charli's freestyle, for example, was a mix of everything. Within the season, she talked about how she reached her breaking point with social media and how she had lost her love of dance. Charli actually having a background in competitive dance only for the internet to then deny her abilities? It's whiplash. I could see how that messes with you. Being on Dancing with the Stars helped her find that lost love, which means it was only right for her routine to be a series of different styles and genres, even including tap dancing. The whole thing was a love letter to dance. And what makes it even better is that, on top of all of that, Mark had also been in Charli's situation before, where he too questioned his relationship with dance. Which means that their freestyle routine was reflective of how they helped each other rediscover that passion. Charli wasn't the only one whose dance celebrated their partner, as Wayne's freestyle also had placed more of a focus on Whitney. Wayne was very adamant about highlighting Whitney and her role in his journey this season. Whenever a judge praised one of his performances, he immediately pointed the credit back towards her. In fact, that's why for prom night he chose the song It Takes Two, because there were 2 of them, and that's what it took. Wayne knows this wasn't exclusive to him. Their freestyle dance was representative of the work both of them had put into this season. It's just nice to be able to see the connection between the stars and the pros actually be brought out through the final dance. Now, of course, all of the freestyles get perfect scores. At that point, you're judging more of their personality than an actual dance. Shangela didn't do all that to get a 9. Regardless, these are counted into the overall scores for the stars, crafting the final leaderboard, bringing us to the moment where one of them will truly prove that they actually have talent. Usually when doing eliminations at the end of an episode, they start with who is safe, but for the finale, that wouldn't build as much dramatic tension. This time, it's kind of done backwards. They call out 4th first, and then 3rd second, and then by that time they only have 2 remaining, so they just skip 2nd and call 1st last. So in 4th place, we have
Shangela and Gleb.
Shangela? What? I could have swore Shangela did better than that. And she performed a whole dance with 2 pieces of chicken in her dress. They gave her 4th? If Shangela, easily being one of the more creative and entertaining stars, didn't make it past Gabby, then who the heck got 3rd?
Wayne and Whitney.
No! What? What the fuck? Actual end times. How did Gabby beat both Wayne and Shangela? Probably that nepotism. However she did it, Gabby is now one of the last 2 combatants up against Charli. And of course, they do it in the slowest way possible, revealing the winner of Dancing with the Stars to be
Charli and Mark!
She's done it! Charli D'Amelio, a true inspiration for this generation, winning Dancing with the Stars and proving that maybe, just maybe, being someone on the internet really can get you places. My only goal in life is to leave as much of an impact on something as Charli D'Amelio has left on Dancing with the Stars.
Let's take one last look at our leaderboard. At the top are Charity, and Artem.
Talk about a most memorable year. The last note I just want to touch on is the most important aspect of the dances. The one thing that can make or break a performance. The cherry on top, if you will. Each dance has a story, and each story has its characters. The stars have to be able to tell that story. An issue some celebrities run into is becoming too focused on the wrong part of the dance. Almost as if they're more concerned with proving that they can do the routine, rather than getting into the dance itself, actually presenting that story. This is something Trevor was warned about in the beginning of the season. They were able to tell he was thinking of what came next. Surprise, surprise, Charmander's mom was also guilty of this. Her biggest threat, besides irony, was not showing enough emotion. The judges were saying that her dances lacked personality. It writes itself. She needed more vulnerability. In fact, the training clips, we could see it. Charli's mom was always going on about how she was forgetting to smile. That was one of the challenges she faced. Again, I think her priorities are a little misplaced here. If you watch the top tiers, they aren't smiling the whole time. they're acting. For those fateful couple minutes, the stars at the top are able to get into those characters, which in turn presents less of a struggle when they're creating, learning, and performing. Each of their routines live. Whitney and Wayne became prom goers, Charli became the cape in the Paso Doble, and Mark became anxiety. It kind of ties back a little to what I said about the semifinals. Chicago and Bachelorette Lady put enough into their dances to keep them as their own things. Wayne and Whitney also had a Paso Doble on the semifinal that they actually put a story on top of, which is hard to do. There you go, that's just an actual example. And another example is that they actually straight up acknowledged this for Homelander's team dance. 3 out of the 4 stars are actors, so naturally they played to those strengths by giving a story to the routine, the murder mystery, and they won! It goes to show the difference it makes when you allow the dance to flow through you. A bit easier to see why you would struggle with showing enough emotion when you have the same stagnant expression the entire time. When Charli can make 14 different faces in a single second, but it's taking this much for her mom to keep even a smile, I mean, you're probably not being as sincere as you think you are. Like, she's just here to chase a spotlight. Starting to get why the more courageous dances are done by actors, while the safe dances are populated by reality TV show stars. There's a certain mindset that comes with that. Wayne, once again, had said something very true, this time building off another thing Trevor had mentioned. He said that as a performer, when you sign up, you show up. Regardless of all the challenges the show threw at Wayne, he made it this far, and he was gonna see it through. This is even something Charli reflects a bit with how she rediscovered her love of dance. Maybe it's easy to just look at her and think, TikTok. However, there was a skill that she possessed, one that she brought to the show and ended up winning with. It's that magic of hard work, showing that even if you are a kid on the internet, that doesn't mean you're incapable of the same level of skill. Seeing Charli's journey, and hearing Wayne's words, there's one thing that I take away from them after watching this season. Don't let your anxieties make a misstep the end. Wayne had gotten a perfect score for one of his routines, after which he said that he knew he could do it, he just didn't know if it would happen. There's a line between courage and confidence, and those who could walk it are the best of us. That is what draws me to this show so much. Seeing people work towards the same goal and how they approach it coming from all their different backgrounds. Watching them grow through a challenge that is, for the most part, outside of what they normally would do. I want to see what they come up with. This season of Dancing with the Stars fundamentally changed what it means to be a contestant on the show. It doesn't matter who you are or where you come from. It's just a matter of if you're willing to go through the challenges. Life is a dance floor, and as long as you're out there dancing, you'll always be a star.